Brexit, What the Hell Happens Now by Ian Dunt. I highly recommend this book. I read it over Christmas, and as we are up for 2.5 years of real thorny complexity, I recommend strongly that you get your teeth into it as well. So it doesn't rehash old arguments of the referendum debate or anything like that. It really is about where we are now and what we're coming up to going forward. The World Trade Organization rules are a lot more complicated than you would have thought. It's not some kind of safety net that we can easily fall back on. If we go to WTO rules, we're going to have to set a whole load of different tariff rates with cut-offs at different levels for different countries. They could all take us to court over that if they don't like those rules. And also, we can't unilaterally drop tariffs for one country and not another. There's a rule against that. So if you want to drop tariffs with one entity, you have to drop them with everyone. And as Ian says in this, Britain could indeed unilaterally drop its EU tariffs, but then it would become a completely tariff-free country. Cheap foreign goods would flood the market. Hundreds of thousands of people would lose their jobs because it would hit our own domestic industries for those. It would also make the UK a less attractive country for trade deals because its tariffs would already be at zero. It would be like haggling with someone who already wants to give you their product for free. The other really interesting part is, of course, regulations. It's not like just taking a big tome of rules, photocopying it all, you know, this copy paste, drag and drop into British legislation, then going through it carefully and getting rid of all that burdensome stuff that's holding us back. EU rules are changing all the time. There are hundreds of them undergoing change at the moment. It's more like jumping off a bus and thinking you can run alongside it, let alone overtake it. And then a lot of these rules are bound to the regulatory authorities of the EU. So if you have a dispute, who rules on it? Well, you'd love British courts to rule on it, but do we have the experience and do we have the bandwidth at the moment? If you then go and have these rules arbitrated through the European mechanisms, well, they're under no obligation to put us at the front of the queue, as it were. So we really get ourselves into a bind there as well. And there's a whole list of agencies here that we would have to then go and replicate. And even when you want to go and change the laws, again, we've got a massive bandwidth problem if we want to be changing those through our parliament. Otherwise, you'd have to have statutory mechanisms in order to allow our ministers to do it. And again, as pointed out by Ian, you then have massive lobbying by corporates and civil societies in order to try and catch things that ministers are undemocratically, you could argue, trying to change themselves. So lots of fun stuff in here to get your head around and to arm yourselves well for the next 2 years coming up.